In a small coastal town, there lived a 35-year-old woman named Helena. Helena was an elementary school teacher, and everyone knew her as someone very dedicated to her work. But there was something about her that nobody could understand. Every day, Helena carried a brown leather purse that seemed extremely heavy. When people asked what she carried inside, Helena would just smile and say, "These are important things to me." What nobody knew is that Helena carried stones in her purse, common stones that she had collected over the years, and each one represented something very painful in her life. The truth about Helena was deep and sad. She carried the emotional weight of every mistake she had made, of every harsh word she had received, of every disappointment she had faced. It was as if she had a collection of hurts stored inside her heart. When her ex-husband had called her a failure during their divorce 5 years ago, Helena picked up a heavy stone from the beach and put it in her purse. When she was rejected for a promotion at work, she added another stone. When her mother said she would never be good enough, another stone went into the purse. With each criticism, each moment of pain, each painful memory that came to her mind, Helena symbolically added more weight to her daily burden. Her purse had become a physical symbol of all the emotional suffering she refused to leave behind. She walked bent over by the weight, her shoulders always tense, and felt constant back pain. But Helena believed she deserved to carry that weight. She thought those stones reminded her not to make the same mistakes again. One day, Helena was walking on the beach after a particularly difficult day at school. A child had been cruel to her in front of other students, and Helena was already mentally looking for a new stone to add to her collection, when she saw an elderly woman sitting on a bench. The woman, who appeared to be about 70 years old, was watching the sea with an expression of deep peace. Next to her was a small, light purse. Helena, curious and carrying her heavy bag, approached and sat on the bench next to the stranger. "What a beautiful view," said Helena, trying to start a conversation. The elderly woman smiled warmly. "Yes, I've been coming here every day for 10 years. It helps keep my mind clear." Helena noticed how light the woman seemed, so free, so different from how she herself felt. "I also come here frequently," said Helena, "but I don't feel as peaceful as you seem to be." The elderly woman looked at Helena with gentle, wise eyes. "Dear, may I ask you a question? Why do you carry such a heavy purse? It looks like it's hurting you." Helena was surprised. No one had ever asked this question so directly. Helena hesitated for a moment, but something in the woman's kindness made her open her heart. "I carry stones," she confessed. "Each one represents something painful that happened to me. I keep them so I won't forget, so I won't make the same mistakes." The elderly woman listened in silence, nodding with understanding. "May I see your stones?" she asked gently. Helena, for some reason, felt safe to open her purse. One by one, she took out the stones: the dark stone of divorce, the rough stone of rejection at work, the small but sharp stone of her mother's words, dozens of other stones of different sizes and textures. The elderly woman observed each one with respect. "How many years have you been carrying these stones?" she asked. "The oldest one is from 5 years ago," Helena replied. "And tell me, dear, have these stones helped you avoid new mistakes? Have they made you wiser, stronger, happier?" Helena stopped to think. For the first time, she realized they hadn't. The stones hadn't brought wisdom, only pain. They hadn't brought strength, only weakness. They hadn't brought protection, only weight. The elderly woman slowly stood up and extended her hand to Helena. "Come with me to the water. I'm going to show you something I learned after carrying my own stones for many years." Helena followed her, carrying her heavy purse and the stones in her hands. When they reached the water's edge, the woman said, "I want you to throw one of these stones into the sea. But before you throw it, I want you to tell me what this stone represents and how carrying it has helped your life." Helena picked up the first stone, the one from the divorce. "This stone represents the cruel words of my ex-husband. I carry it to ... She stopped. "To not trust men again, to feel unworthy of love, to remember that you're a failure," the elderly woman asked gently. Helena began to cry. "It doesn't help me at all. It only makes me suffer every day." "Then throw it into the sea," said the woman. "Let the ocean take that pain away." With tears in her eyes, Helena threw the stone into the water. She felt something strange, immediate relief, as if a literal weight had been lifted from her shoulders. "How do you feel?" asked the elderly woman. Helena took a deep breath. "Lighter, literally lighter." The woman smiled. "Now the next stone." One by one, Helena threw her stones into the sea. With each stone that disappeared into the waves, she felt freer, lighter, more herself. When the last stone was thrown, Helena felt transformed. The elderly woman gently placed her hand on Helena's shoulder. "My dear, for 10 years I carried stones like you. Stones from my husband's death, stones from my mistakes as a mother, stones from lost opportunities. I thought carrying these stones was honoring my pain, keeping me alert. But one day, I realized something fundamental. Carrying these stones wasn't protecting me from future suffering. It was preventing me from living in the present." Helena listened to each word as if it were a revelation. The stones we carry don't make us wiser, they make us heavier. True wisdom comes from learning from our experiences and then letting them go. When you throw a stone into the sea, you're not forgetting what happened. You're choosing not to let that experience define who you are today. In the days that followed, Helena discovered what it was like to live without the weight of stones. She walked upright for the first time in years. Her shoulders relaxed, her back pain disappeared, but the deepest transformation was emotional. Helena began to see her past experiences differently. Instead of carrying the divorce as a mark of failure, she saw it as learning about her own limits and needs. Instead of keeping the job rejection as proof of incompetence, she transformed it into motivation to specialize even more. Instead of carrying her mother's harsh words as absolute truths, she saw them as reflections of her mother's own insecurities. Helena learned the fundamental difference between remembering and carrying. Remembering is healthy and necessary for growth. Carrying is destructive and limiting to the present. She began teaching this lesson to her students too. When a child made a mistake, Helena would say, "You learned something important today. Now, let the mistake go and use the learning to grow." Her classroom became a lighter and more welcoming environment. Helena's story teaches us a powerful truth. We all carry invisible stones in our emotional purses. Stones of betrayals, failures, harsh words, lost opportunities. We believe these stones protect us, keep us alert, make us wiser. But the reality is, they only make us heavier, more bent, more limited. True wisdom isn't in carrying our pains as trophies of suffering. It's in transforming these experiences into learning and then having the courage to let them go. As the wise woman on the beach taught Helena, there's a fundamental difference between honoring our history and being its prisoner. You can remember a painful experience, learn from it, and still choose not to carry its emotional weight forever. If this story touched your soul, if you recognized your own stones in Helena's story, share in the comments. What stones have you been carrying in your emotional purse? What weight are you ready to throw into the sea? Your courage in sharing can inspire thousands of people to do the same. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more transformative stories like this. And hit the bell icon so you don't miss any content. Give it a like if this story made you reflect on the weight you carry unnecessarily. Until the next story, remember, you have the power to choose which weights are worth carrying and which deserve to be thrown into the sea of liberation.